I'm Morgan Dreamus with RT Book Reviews, and today I am joined by puppeteer/author Mary Robinette Kowal, and you are very, very well known. You've only had one book out so far, but everywhere you look, we see your name because your one book, which is Shades of Milk and Honey, has won awards. It has been everywhere. I mean, you can't talk to a Jane Austen fan without knowing your Jane Austen fantasy historical. I don't even know what to call it. It's just
I call it a historical fantasy. And it's definitely an homage to Jane Austen. So I am a huge fan of her. Yeah, I've been really delighted and surprised by how well it has been received because I basically wrote a book that I wanted to read. And have been pleasantly surprised that I am not alone.
Well, actually, I'm going to admit to something here, and for everyone who is watching, don't be shocked, but I will admit, even though I was an English major, I'm not necessarily the biggest Jane Austen fan. And I say that realizing what a tremendous author, just maybe not necessarily my cup of tea. However, when I picked up Shades of Milk and Honey, I expected something that might be a little dry, a little, this is historical, and I got ready to get in. And after the first page, you're like, this is nothing like I expected. Because you have magic and you have glamours where people, with their minds, by developing their talents, they're able to create things around them.
Yeah, and this very much comes out of my puppetry background because basically, I mean, if I could do this on stage, my life would be so much easier. Because, the idea of just being able to reach into what I call the ether and pull out light and manipulate it the way other people manipulate paint, and make illusions just on the stage. I once had a director who said, and this is for a school show where I go into a gymnasium and set up on a floor, and it comes out of a van. We have to set up in 45 minutes, and he said, I want to start with a blank stage and create the universe. And I'm like, this is a gymnasium floor. There is no blank stage. There are no trapdoors. But if I had had glamour, it'd be like, okay, no problem.
I'll just create.
I'll just, let me just weave a little bit here in the middle of the air, and we're good.
Okay, now some people might be wondering why we're standing in front of a black table, and I want to grab these because these are actually some of your puppets.
Yes.
Because I want to talk about how your puppetry plays into your book. Now, we talked about how your characters, they're able to create glamours, they're able to paint with light, if you will, and create illusions to entertain others. You do the same thing.
Essentially, I do. And there's, in chapter 10, there is a puppet show, and it's a historical show. It's called The Broken Bridge. From 1784, it's a real thing. It was enormously, hugely popular. And I decided that in this world, silhouettes would have been, popular, sure, but the thing that people would have really gone gaga over are glamours. So it's the same puppet show, but it is done with magic. So I've recreated it with these tiny little puppets.
And these are great.
Thank you.
These are great.
The original would have been made out of donkey skin and probably about this big, and had multiple puppeteers. I built these to go into my suitcase, so when I go to readings, I can whip it out and do a puppet show in like 2 minutes. So these are made of the more traditional Trader Joe's boxes.
Yeah, I love that. You can look on the back and it says Trader Joe's because these are just cardboard. You literally you cut out cardboard and put it together with tape, and it's amazing to me the ingenuity involved, and also other people can do this too.
Oh, absolutely. This is, when I go into schools with my puppetry hat, this is one of the techniques that we teach, is making shadow puppets. I mean, what you're looking at here is, this one is actually a fairly complicated one. Most of the time, they've only got 2 rods. This guy,
I can row my boat very easily.
But, we've got the brass brads and, as you say, just tape and coat hangers. I made these in about half an hour in my basement. Now, granted, having done this for a living for 20 years, I know what pieces I need to cut out, so it's a little bit faster for me. But I love shadow puppets because they're so immediately accessible. Anybody can set this up, and when you see the screen, it's a white shower curtain screen.
Affordable?
Affordable, yes. I mean, you can basically have a puppet show for less than $1.50. and still have Raisin Bran too. So it's, you know, it's great.
Well, and also, I'm also thinking about this. Obviously, we are adults who are completely enamored with this. I can just only imagine when kids get a hold of this, what they're what they're able to create and imagine.
Yeah, my goodness, the things that kids come up with are constantly impressive and amazing. I did this one school where we do an adaptation, and so it was we were adapting Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and I talk about how if you change one thing in a story, you have to change everything, which is basically what I'm doing with my Jane Austen stuff. And so so this little group decided that they were going to do Goldilocks and the Three Giants, and it was like the funniest Dadaist play ever, because Goldilocks walks in and goes, "I'd like to sit down, but this chair is too big. And this chair is too big. And this chair is too big. I wish I could have some porridge, but this spoon is too big." And it was just like everything she encountered. This is too big. It was hilarious.
Well, they were three giants. What can you expect?
But I'm like, you understood that lesson and followed through and made the most adorable little puppets to go with it. It was hilarious. Because Goldilocks, they just made this little tiny finger puppet, and all the others were normal sized. It was brilliant, brilliant. From kindergartners.
Yes, from kindergarten. Yes, who would have guessed? Well, and actually that brings me on to your inspiration for your series. Now, we already have the first one, Shades of Milk and Honey, that's out. Like I said, award-winning, yay, yay, yay. Loved it.
Thank you.
We have the second one that's coming out soon, and that is Glamour in the Glass.
Glamour in Glass, yes.
Glamour in Glass. Can you tell me a little bit about it, and also what we can expect that we saw in the first one that is going to follow through, but also maybe some stuff that is new.
Yes. Well, I come from this as I'm a Jane Austen fan, but I'm also a science fiction and fantasy reader. You know, that is my background. That is my first love as a reader, and I started Shades of Milk and Honey because it was I was reading Persuasion, and wanted to see whether or not it was possible to take fantasy and fit it into that Jane Austen mold. So I worked very hard not to break the Jane Austen mold. In Glamour in Glass, I feel like, you know, I've explored that. I really like this world. I like these characters. Let's see what happens if we let them out of a Jane Austen plot. So this is history. I don't feel like it's a spoiler, nor do I feel like it's a spoiler to let people know that there is a marriage at the end of Shades of Milk and Honey. Shocking.
I know, right? In a romance,
no. No, what are the chances of that? So in the second book, the happily married couple, which is, and this is a spoiler, but Jane and Vincent, and they go to Europe for a honeymoon because Napoleon has been defeated. He is in exile in Elba. The continent is safe for the first time. So we get to see the rest of Europe, not the rest of Europe, we get to see France and Belgium, and we get to meet an old classmate of Vincent's who has a school for glamourists. And while Jane and Vincent are there on honeymoon, Napoleon comes out of exile. And those are the days leading up to Waterloo. So the second book is significantly more swashbuckling than the first one. It goes a couple of places that are a little bit darker than Austen goes. Among other things, she never dealt with a married couple. And trying to maintain a romantic tension between them without descending into the... It bothers me when people like break couples apart for really no good reason at all, just so they can bring them back together again. So trying to maintain that romantic tension between them as, you know, newlyweds, it was an interesting path to walk.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop you there because I'm super excited, and I don't have a copy yet, so I'm gonna have to hold off until I actually get one because I can't wait. Although other people at RT are probably going to fight me over the copy, but hey, that's okay too. We can all take turns. But I want to talk a little bit more about the puppetry because you are going to give us a show. Now, the show that you're going to actually be putting on right now for us is from the book. Like you said, it's in chapter 10. Can you give the audience a little bit of background on what they're going to see?
Sure. It's this show was 1784, created by a man named Seraphim. So shadows are basically, you know, little silhouettes that move, and the story is really simple. It's about this guy who wants to cross a bridge that is broken, and the workman who gives me really terrible time. Yeah, it's a series of increasingly bad jokes.
Well, hey, there's always room for bad jokes.
You know, and this ran for 60 years in the original, so
why bring it back?
Why, you know,
60
why not?
More.
Yes, why not? The broken bridge. Tra-la-la, tra-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la, Tra-la-la, tra-la-la. Excuse me, tra-la-la. Excuse me, tra-la-la. Excuse me, sir. Is this the road to London? Oh, no. This here's the road to London. That road there don't go nowhere but to the river. Tra-la-la. Oh, well, can one cross the river? Oh, aye. Ducks cross the river. Quack, quack. Tra-la-la. Well, how deep is the river? Well, gravel touches the bottom. Tra-la-la. Oh, well, how far across is the river? Well, when you're in the middle, you're halfway across. Tra-la-la. Oh, if I were on the other side of the river, I'd tra-la-la you. Tra-la-la. Oh, tra-la-la. Oh, tra-la-la. Oh, tra-la-la. 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 Tra-la-la, 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 tra-la, 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 whoa! Tra-la-la-la.